What's going on, guys? Creedart here. We are looking at patch 0.3.5 early release patch notes. Key changes and focus areas are going to be the Unreal Engine 5.5 performance improvements. As you can see from this map here, based on the green dots from 0.3.4 over to 0.3.5, there are significant FPS improvements across the map. Each circle represents a player of their unique PC setup. This is roughly 1,700 players on 0.3.4 and around 1,500 players testing on 0.3.5. As you can see here, on high-end PCs, significant FPS jump. Low-end PCs, pretty good FPS jump as well in Tiger Bay. Mid-range PCs is where you see a pretty good jump as well, from about 40 to 60. By upgrading to Unreal Engine 5.5, it allowed them to parallelize rendering, significantly increasing performance on mid-end CPUs and lower-end CPUs. They also managed to reduce VRAM usage by about 400 megabytes on all systems, reduced RAM usage by about 2 gigabytes on all systems, which is huge, and for all you AMD guys, they are updating to AMD FSR 4. There's also going to be an internal benchmark tool to help you suggest optimal settings so that you're not messing around with graphics. Focus on reducing hitching during gameplay and also numerous crash fixes, which is amazing. W update, bro. We're looking at smarter, more human AI with enhanced damage response as well. So the AI has actually been reworked and rebalanced to deliver smarter, more human-like behavior that will adapt dynamically based on multiple conditions. So AI difficulty level, distance to the target, which is you, as well as weapons effective range. Weather effects such as fog and rain are going to have a effect as well. AI health status and suppression level, target movement, as well as duration of target lock. So you can actually break target lock by leaving the line of sight, switching to the when the AI switches to a new target, or when the AI is reloading and getting hit. You can see here that they have not so much of a direct accuracy. They're actually missing the player upon direct shots. 0.3 versus 0.4 is a lot more consistent with not being instantly killed. They say the result is more believable, less robotic, Terminator-like AI, with reactions and accuracy that depend on the situation. They're also reworking weapon audio, so shooting sound has been tweaked with all weapons, improved directional perception of shooting enemies, and realistic behavior of sonic crack. They're also optimizing first-person movement animations. They're going to reduce the impact of several animations on the first-person perspective. That'll minimize excessive character movement. So for example, the character's body was actually decoupled from some first-person animations. That would result in things like breathing animation being disabled. Weapon sway also being a huge adjustment, you can see here. Much smoother on movement side to side, especially with pistols as well. It's a lot more consistent. Weapon recoil overhaul as well. So from patch 0.3.4 to patch 0.3.5, each weapon actually has its own unique weapon recoil pattern tied to it. That'll be tied to the lower receiver. The recoil is also now tied to calculating the real physics and recoil energy of the weapon. Muzzle brakes, suppressors, gas blocks, all will now feature new efficiency behavior, reducing the impact of the gas factor. And that gas factor is being introduced so that they can simulate differences between weapon types and barrel lengths. They also say that aiming and movement states now affect recoil dynamically. ADS, crouch, and prone will all affect recoil, like reduce it, but moving will increase it. As for gameplay and design changes, we have improved bullet penetration through skull and bones. Headshots are going to be more lethal, and bone penetration reduces cases where AI NPCs absorb hits. They also increased blood spatter to make non-vital hits more impactful. The death sequence will also be from a first-person perspective, so that you now kind of know where you died from. So this is a difference between 0.3.4 and 0.3.5. Your character actually turns now. You can see here also balance changes for rewards in the tier 2 areas. That's places like Blue Lagoon, Bonpaw, Falang Airfield. So they're going to better reflect the difference in difficulty. Next, also a new server for mainland China being tested. So anybody who plays in the mainland China region, you can now actually connect to a Chinese server. That should hopefully provide smoother experience with less rubber banding. Some of the most important community reported and requested changes. They fixed the bug that caused the key drop rate frequency in Fort Nerith to be incorrectly low. They fixed an issue where the sonic crack sound could play after the actual gunshot. They fixed an issue causing very dark nights with the global illumination set to medium or higher. Fixed an issue where FSR frame generation was disabled on RX 580 graphics cards. Fixed an issue where lasers were not correctly in specific locations, such as YBL 1, parts of Midnight Sapphire. That's huge, super huge that lasers will work now. Fixed an issue where players were unable to hand in task items in cops. That's nice. Fixed an issue that caused audio to cut out in the Tiger Bay Mall. I noticed that one specifically, that was better. Fixed the ambient noise transmission in some parts of YBL. And then they also improved the sound isolation of YBL from outside ambient noise. They improved scope visibility under specific weather conditions where the image appeared overly dark as well. Improved collision detection on the ground to help prevent players from falling through after getting revived. That's a big one for sure. As for performance optimizations, we have fixed an issue in Unreal Engine's pre-caching system, leading to numerous shader compilation hitches. That's big. So getting hitches on the helicopter or loading into new areas, that's probably why. Fixed numerous hitches caused by missing the pre-caching. Yep, that's important. Fixed periodic hitches caused by the cloud and reflections. Customized Unreal's graphic resource allocator to reduce hitches. Optimized asset streaming to reduce CPU load. Fixed hitches caused by a character spawned by the network. Fixed periodic hitches caused by the sun and moon lights. Fixed hitches caused by loot spawned by the network. Fixed hitches caused by long distance traveling bullets. Fixed hitches when specific environmental particles were spawning. Fixed hitches occurring upon capturing a cop as well. They fixed hitches occurring when vending machines were streamed in. Optimized the VFX for barrel fire, campfire, explosive grenades, flashbang, and mortar explosions. Optimized muzzle particle effects on all weapons to improve the frame rate when shooting full auto. That's huge. And then various other under the hood optimizations. Moving down to gameplay, we've got fixed an issue where players always died if they got into a coma while on the helicopter. That's going to be nice. Fixed an issue where using the splint did not prioritize the most damaged bone. That's a big one. Big for Abo. Abo. Fixed an issue where the player's weapon can become invisible after examining another player with a grenade in hand. That's funny. Fixed an issue where the Reese 212 handguard setup correctly prevented shorter barrel use. Interesting. Fixed an issue that allowed players to remove a scope from the SVD while loading the magazine into the weapon. Fixed a minor animation glitch when starting to run with a knife while in dynamic crouch. Fixed an issue where AI NPCs sometimes did not turn on their flashlights at night. That's nice. Fixed a very rare issue where AI NPC would keep the player as a target indefinitely. That's funny. Fixed an issue that caused players to be unable to scope zoom while slow walking. That's very helpful. Fixed an issue where footstep sound disappeared when the player turned their back to a moving character. Reduced the visual range of flashlights on AI. Interesting. Added the missing FDEAK handguard to military firearm box loot table. I've been looking for FDEAK handguard. Let's go. Added the missing HP bunker key to the Hunter's Paradise boss loot table. We'll be looking for that for sure. Adjusted the extraction range for the squad strike mission fragile goods from 2.5 meters to 25 meters. That's pretty big. World fixed several locations where players could get stuck. Tiger Bay Wrecking Yard, Fanny Paradise between a house and some pallets, in some rocks near a lake, in rocks near Inthavong Farm, near Sawmill between the logs and a container, and outside the Nomad Cop. Fixed an issue where the rooftop of Crusader Cop was not recognized as part of the Cop area. Interesting. Fixed a missing collision on a wall near the Tiger Bay Central Southeast entrance, okay? Fixed the incorrect collision around fountains in Midnight Sapphire that caused grenades to bounce off. That's funny. Fixed a visual discrepancy between the sky and the environment during specific weather conditions on low settings. Nice. Good for the low guys. Fixed the position of the interaction box for the laptop in the Shepherd Cop. That's what we like to hear. Disabled lights that were unintentionally active during the daytime. That's a big one. For immersion, right? Adjusted terrain and objects in the Spielberg Cop to prevent players from climbing onto the roof. St. Glizzy. Removed an unused interaction option from a light switch in YBL 1. That's a weird one. Moving down to UI fixes, we have fixed an incorrect joined squad notification when a player was promoted to squad leader. Fixed a missing notification that the squad had been disbanded after the squad leader who created the squad left. Fixed an issue where a messenger channel would get stuck in the pinned section after unpinning. Fixed an issue where the messenger window would fail to display when sending a message through the player interaction panel. Fixed the incorrect text wrapping in the feedback form text window. Fixed an issue causing the weather forecast in the main menu to be out of sync with the in-game one. Fixed an issue where the tracking tag icon disappeared from the map if the tracked item was looted from a player's body and then placed back again. Fixed an issue where the cursor didn't appear after pressing Alt F4 outside of the friendly area. Yee. Fixed an issue where pressing backspace when inputting a safe code did not delete the numbers. Okay, that helps. Fixed an issue where relooting and returning a tagged item would cause its tracking icon to no longer appear on the map. Fixed an issue where the cursor didn't appear after pressing Alt F4 outside of a friendly area. Fixed the conflict zone detail text not updating when changing the game language. Fixed the incorrect size of the maintenance notification in the main menu and unified its position. Fixed an issue where the character level was displayed as 0 instead of 1 after wipe. Fixed an incorrect text on the end deployment button when outside of friendly areas. Fixed a missing icon in the hair selection section of the character creation screen. Fixed the incorrect DLC message wrapping in check. Fixed the conflict zone details text in the Spanish localization. Changing settings now lists each changed setting item along with the original value. Players can revert each of the changed settings. Nice. Removes the option to invite offline friends to a squad from the friends list. And when reporting a player for a faction kill, the reason is now pre-selected in the report window. As for custom servers and other changes, so custom servers for those PvP events and weekly PvP and PvE events, fixed an issue where the player count was not grayed out when a custom server was running. Fixed an incorrect text label in the player list on custom servers. Fixed an issue where players who joined a custom server for the first time had nickname displayed instead of their username. Fixed an issue where the player's rank was not set correctly on custom servers when using the Everything Unlocked preset. Fixed a crash on custom servers when the invisible free-cam player was shot. That's a funny one. Fixed an issue preventing elite operators from starting a custom server in the central US region. Implemented support for gamepad control for the free cam on custom servers. Other changes. Improved the visuals of glass reflections and scopes. Fixed a visual movement glitch that caused a sudden bump after stopping while in dynamic crouch. Adjusted the lighting on low settings to balance the overall darkness. That's W. And then we've got some technical and rendering fixes. So they fixed an issue that could cause the game to freeze when Alt F4. Fixed an issue where the foliage might flicker under certain circumstances. Fixed an issue that caused load friends failed error if a player accumulated over 100 friends. That's nice. I think I had that issue. Fixed an issue where Steam friends data failed to load after 60 minutes in the main menu. Fixed an issue where players were unable to join the server as a squad leader under certain circumstances. Fixed a rare issue that caused players to connect to a full server, resulting in a connection error message. And then fixed the Twitch Drops rewards distribution system for players who were unable to claim them until now. It also says they fixed an issue where light artifacts appeared on buildings during nighttime. Fixed an issue where the inside of a bunker in Fort Nerith got too dark if global illumination was set to low. Fixed a rare issue where the suppression blur effect would persist on the player's screen after death. That has happened to me a couple times. Reduced flickering of various smoke effects in shadows. That'll be nice. Players can now choose whether they want to reconnect to their original server if within a reconnection window, or they have to choose to abandon it or join a new one. Added a recommended driver version pop-up that appears when starting the game after an update if outdated graphics drivers are detected. That's pretty cool. As for technical updates, we've got updating to Unreal Engine 5.5, updating the DLSS plugin to version 8.1, updating to AMD FSR 4 for those AMD guys, and then upgrading the Wise to version 2024.1.8, and updating Oodle to 2.9.14 to prevent crashes related to Intel CPUs. That's a big one for the Intel guys. And that pretty much covers patch 0.3.5. If you have any thoughts or questions, leave them down in the comment section. This was just a kind of overall coverage. If you want to catch the next video, go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button, and I will catch you later.